What's shaking, everybody? My name is Ross Mandel. I'm coming to you guys live today from Delray Beach, Florida. I'm at Scott Woolley Studios. I got a real treat for you all today. He's an animator. He's a director. He's a producer. He's worked on some of the biggest films ever. And you know what? He is a world-class, highly paid speaker. Fortune 500 companies pay attention. This guy is a storyteller extraordinaire. And we just found out we grew up in the same town. So this is my brother from another mother. I want you to introduce Saul, the man Blinkoff. What's up, baby?
There you go. What's up? Thanks for that intro, man. Yeah, we are brothers from another mother.
Beverly
Just a
Hills,
couple Long
Blinkoff.
Island guys, right?
Long Island guys, Beverly Hills, Boca Raton. I mean, who's doing better than we are, my brother? Really?
There you go.
When
There
you
you go.
When you think about it, talking about destinations, I did a video for a reality show trailer, and I'm just speaking off the cuff. I'm driving my car in Boca Raton. I said, "This is the Beverly Hills of the East Coast." You're actually in Beverly Hills of the West Coast.
It really is, though. It really is. You know, since I grew up in New York and I was freezing, I got my internship at Disney in the 90s and living in Orlando, and I fell in love with warm weather. And I'm like, you know what? Why stay in Long Island? No offense to our Long Island brothers and sisters listening, but like, why stay? If you can get out and go live in some warm weather, why not, you know?
When I have these discussions with people, no matter where they are in the world, I said, let me ask you a question. What's your favorite season? Everybody says either spring or summer. Everybody.
Right.
There's an odd freak that'll say winter, but that's odd.
And if it is winter, it's like the first day of winter, or it's Christmas time in winter. It's not the whole season.
I said, so wouldn't you want to live in a place where it's summer all year round?
That's right.
Right?
So come out to L.A. or Boca, people.
That's
Let's
exactly
go.
the plan.
We got room.
California got a little weird, I hate to say it, because of mismanagement, but we're going to get to
it's
all
a lot
that.
Weird. It's a lot weird.
So, Saul, you're sitting right now in L.A., and you're basically a Hollywood guy. That's how we would call you, non-industry people, us civilians or pedestrians, And you are genuinely a Hollywood guy, and that's exciting even to me, an ex-Wall Streeter. So I want to dial the clock back. You're back at number 6 school. We're on Long Island. Tell us about early in life. I want people to hear how a guy could end up in Beverly Hills or in the film business, etc. What was it like?
Thank you, yeah. Well, look, when I was growing up, I was an artist. That was the thing that I did. I drew. I used to draw Snoopy and Garfield, and I have a twin sister. I used to draw on her forehead with markers. I would use a Sharpie because it would last long, right? Every artist wants their artwork to last long after they're gone.
I love that.
And my mom would take my artwork and put it in the greatest museum your artwork could ever be, the fridge, right? So she would magnet it on the fridge, and I just loved the attention that I got. My older brother was into sports. Like, he loved the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jack Lambert, Steel Curtain.
I get it.
My sister was a reader, and I was the crazy creative artist type that was climbing trees in my childhood. I was going to be an artist, and then I was 11 years old.
Let me ask you, it just came natural to you? Like you just wanted it, someone just gave you a pencil or crayons and you could actually draw stuff that looked good?
Okay, here's the thing. You're bringing up a good question. Let me say it like this. If you were to get a room of 500 kids who are 6 years old and ask all of them, are there any artists in the room? Every hand would go up.
Right, exactly. I get that.
Because kids aren't thinking, do I do this well or not? They're thinking one thing, do I take pleasure in creating? And then when they get to be 16, 17 years old, you'll ask the same group of kids, any artists in the room? Maybe you'll have 4 hands go up. Some of the hands will go up like this, and then they'll look around the room and they'll be like, oh, there's other people with hands up. I'll put my hand down. Because what we do often is we allow others to define what we do. There's a great pleasure in creativity. So if you want to use the word, are you talented, or do you label yourself an artist? Put all that aside. There's something beautiful about the process of taking a marker or a crayon or a paintbrush and creating a stroke that no one has ever created before. And in order to do that, it takes courage. And where do you find most courage? In children, because they're not thinking about the outcome. They're thinking only about the pleasure of creativity itself, right? So I'm 11 years old and I love art. And I go to the movies and I see a movie that changes my life. I see the movie E.T., Remember that one?
Of course,
Spielberg's
everybody.
masterpiece.
E.T.
And I'm
go
watching the
home.
theater.
E.T. go home.
E.T. right? E.T. phone home,
Phone
right?
home.
And I'm watching that movie, and I remember tapping my mom at the end of the movie, and I'm like, Mom, that's what I want to do someday. She's like, what, you want to leave planet Earth in a spaceship? And I'm like, no, Mom,
That too.
I want to make movies,
Yeah,
right?
I love it. Yep, I do.
So,
I get it.
growing up in Long Island, I was far from Hollywood. I didn't know anything about the movie business. I didn't even know that was a job you could have. All I knew is when I looked up to the screen, it called to me. I said, I'm going to go do that. So I went to the library, and that's a building, by the way, for any teenagers
Peninsula
listening.
Public Library.
Peninsula Public Library.
Remember
Let's
that?
go.
And the
Of
bookmobile they used to drive around.
Yeah.
I can't believe
Yeah.
it.
And by the way, for those listening under the age of 20, a library is a building where we used to get information in the olden days, as my kids call it, right? Before the internet.
I love it.
Before ChatGPT.
It's
right?
crazy, right?
It's crazy. So I go to the library and I get books on cameras, lenses, storyboarding. I found out the director of ET is this guy, Steven Spielberg. I'm like, oh, if he could do it, I could do it. And then I read that Spielberg every weekend would make movies with kids in the neighborhood. So I got a film camera, my older brother, my twin sister. And I start making movies, murder movies, monster movies. I remember I made a kidnap movie. I tied my sister up to a tree really tight in the backyard. Afterwards, we go into the house to watch the movie. I still remember my mom going, I like the movie, but where's your sister? I'm like, she's still tied to the tree. What's wrong? You know? So I was going to be a director one day.
I love it.
And then I'm walking in high school. Somebody comes up to me. They're like, what are you going to do when you get out of high school? I'm like, I'm going to be a filmmaker. They're like, no, you don't want to do that because if you want to be a filmmaker, you're going to have to move out to Hollywood. And Hollywood is filled with strange weirdos. They looked at me and said, you don't want to end up a weirdo, do you? And I said, no, I don't want to end up a weirdo. And right then and there, I gave up on my dream because one person told me I would end up a weirdo.
That's how life is, though. I hate to say it. You know, we don't.
Isn't that right?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
what we do. We allow others to control how we feel about ourselves.
Certainly affect how we feel. Correct.
Certainly affect. So I gave up on that. And I said, well, my parents are like, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'll go back to drawing. I'm very fortunate. I had very, very supportive parents when I was younger. And they hired an art teacher to come to our home, private teacher. And she taught me to draw from life. Amazing teacher. She would teach me pastel, oils, pencil, all of it. She told me to go to restaurants. I'd go out to Mother Kelly's.
I
right?
love it.
I'd go to Mother Kelly's with my
just love
sketchbook,
it.
get the
Hearing
best pizza, cheese tortellini. I loved
love
it. And the garlic knots. Remember those garlic knots?
I remember the whole family, by the way. I mean, I grew up with this
They
whole
were
family.
good peeps. They were good peeps. Jets fans, right?
Correct. I mean, it was
You'd
crazy.
walk in there, the Jets were always playing, you know? It was a good time.
It's crazy, and they never won anything.
They never
Even
won.
since then. That's how crazy it is.
But when you went to Mother Kelly, it felt like home, though, didn't it?
It does now. At the time, it was exciting. It was Mother Kelly's.
Right.
It became a spot you went to. Even after I graduated from college, I would go visit ex-girlfriend. I had a house in Atlantic Beach for 10 years. I bought a house right on the water. When I got married, my wife used to visit my mother, who had a small little house. She sold the house in Northwood me after my brother went to NYU film school, by the way.
Oh, there you go.
And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and he became a journalist though, and I went into Wall Street. My mother had a little house in Atlantic Beach on Tioga. You go over the bridge. We made a right, and it was just a little 2-bedroom house for her alone. You know, she was a widow, and we went to visit. And I would drive. My wife grew up in the Bronx. Father was a Teamster, terrible neighborhood,
right?
And we would drive around, and she'd be like, "Why wouldn't you want to live out here? We're at the beach, Central Avenue."
Yep.
Loving it. I mean, it was
Loving
no one
it.
walking around, no gangbangers, you know.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, you know. So I ended up buying a house as a wedding gift in 1998. I bought a house in the Water Club.
Oh, yeah.
I bought the biggest house in the Water Club, 50 houses right on the beach.
Oh, wow.
And
Beautiful.
that's where my kids came after they were born in New York City hospitals, you know.
You raised your family there.
Well, that's where they started life. They really remember growing up in Boca Raton, but we also had an apartment at Trump Tower, so we would go back and forth between Trump Tower and my oldest daughter learned how to swim at the pool in Trump Tower.
Oh, that's beautiful.
In Atlantic Beach, and those are like I would have never left that, but
Jones Beach concerts. I'm sure you did that.
Yeah, I took influence from my wife that I should have listened to.
Yeah,
That's
there
why
you
I
go.
relate to that comment you made. That's world class. That's a world class comment, bro. We have one comment from someone in our life, and that can change the direction of our life.
That's right. And this art teacher, she was very influential for me. She told me to go to cafes, and I would go to places like Mother Kelly's and other restaurants, and I would bring my sketchbook. And she would tell me to draw people from life. Because drawing, she said, isn't about copying, it's about seeing. Developing your eye to look at the world a certain way. What lens do we choose to see the world through? She was amazing.
Brilliant woman.
And so I took all these sketches of people. I brought it back to her. She looks at the drawings. She goes, I like your drawings, but I noticed that every drawing you have here, nobody has hands. Did the people in the restaurant not have hands? I said, no, they had hands. She goes, well, why didn't you draw them? I said, well, because drawing hands is difficult. She goes, oh, it's hard? Okay. Here's what you're going to do. Every single night before you go to bed, you're going to draw your hand from a different position. And that is exactly what I did. And in 6 months, I became really good at drawing hands. And she taught me one of the most valuable lessons in life. Figure out what your weakness is and have a singular mindset to turn it into your strength. Wow. Look, I grew up in the 90s. You know what that means? It means I actually do know who the greatest basketball player to ever play is. And it ain't LeBron James. No offense to King James.
It ain't even
close. It's MJ. It ain't even close. And we all know it's MJ. And by the way, if you do think it's LeBron James, I'd hang up this podcast right now and go find another podcast. Because me and my brother here, we know it's really MJ.
It's not even close.
If
you've seen him play, you know.
If you've seen him play.
No one ever been like him. I hate to say it. He's so dominant when he's on that court.
So dominant. And there's a true story told of him where the first year in the NBA, a critic comes up to him after a game. Actually, it was a Sports Illustrated writer and says, Michael, you're a scoring machine, but you have no defensive game. Jordan could have said, could you get out of my face? I'm Michael Jordan, dude. They already made sneakers with my name on it. Right. Your kid probably has my Jordan posters on the wall. Could you get away from me? But Jordan said years later in an interview, when that sports writer said, you have no defensive game, Jordan heard one thing in his mind. I will have a singular mindset to have defense become my greatest strength. And he worked on it. And 2 years later, one player in the NBA was named Defensive Player of the Year. Yep. Number 23, Michael Jordan. We have to have a singular
on top of all
mindset.
His other accolades. He did that too.
That's right.
He's the only player in history to do that, plus everything else. Scoring titles, MVP, undefeated in the finals,
6
no
rings,
final ever went to 7 games.
All of it. And you know what? When we're listening to, any time you hear greatness in another person, whatever it is, we should be happy for that person, and it should motivate us to be able to grow ourselves. 100%. So that means if Jordan could become that good on a basketball court, how good could he become as a father? How good could he become as a husband, as a human being? There's so many facets to us. Basketball is just one facet to his diamond. A diamond gets brighter the more facets it has. Jordan has the greatest facet on basketball. If he had taken that discipline and put it into his marriage, he'd have the greatest marriage of the century. Becoming a father, all those things. So we need to hear stories like that and say, how do I find my weakness? And by the way, if someone ever comes up to you and they point out one of your weaknesses, you know what you should do? You should hug them.
I get it.
Because our weaknesses are the answer key to growing.
I love it.
So that's what my teacher taught me. So I was going to be an artist. And then I went to another movie that changed my life.
I love it.
Let's see how well you know your Disney. I'll sing a song. You tell me what movie it is. You ready? Here we go. The seaweed is always greener in somebody else's lake. You dream about going up there, but out is a big mistake. Just look at the world around you, right here on the ocean floor. Such wonderful things around you. What more is you looking for? Under the sea. Under the sea. What's the? There Ariel. You go.
Ariel.
Come on, Ariel. That's right.
Are you kidding? I watched that show. I watched that movie 100 times.
There you go.
I raised 2 little daughters.
How great was that movie?
It was I thought that was, to me, that was the greatest.
Yeah, it really was. So I watched that movie when I was in high school. And let me tell you, I'm watching that movie, and the credits are rolling. And I tap my mom, and I'm like, Mom, that's what I want to do. She's like, what, you want to fall in love with a fish? I'm like, no. I want to be an animator for the Walt Disney Company because animation combines my two passions, my love of drawing, my love of filmmaking, put them together, animation. And plus I find out that Disney has a studio in Orlando, Florida. I don't have to go out to LA. So there I was, junior in high school, and I knew exactly what my dream was.
You're so blessed.
My dream was to become a Disney animator. That's where the goal started. There was just one problem. I had no idea how to do it. Look, Ross, today anybody wants to be a Disney animator. It's really simple. You go to Google or ChatGPT and you type in, how do I do it? And they'll tell you exactly how to do it.
Not quite exactly, but it'll tell you the steps you need to take, essentially.
I'll tell you the steps. You'll know exactly what you need in the portfolio. But
we had none of that help. In my day, there were no cell phones. There was no Google.
Yeah, we had none
there was
of
no
that.
Internet. I had nothing. I was a child of the 70s and the 60s.
No, I had none of that. No Internet. So what did we do? My mom takes me, not my older brother.
You had a great
sister.
family, obviously.
Oh, yeah. She took me to Disney World just to walk me around Disney World to ask the Disney cast members, that's what they call their employees, how her son could become a Disney animator. We're getting on the It's a Small World boat ride. I remember getting on the boat, and the lady's like, how many in your party were like 2?
After all. I've taken it 100 times.
I know. So now that song's in our head all day, right? It's a small
crazy.
world after.
Unbelievable.
So we're getting on the boat, and the Disney lady's like, how many in your party? And I'm like, 2. And my mom's like, by the way, my son wants to be a Disney animator. Can you help him? It was so embarrassing.
I get it.
And the Disney lady's like, excuse me, I'm sorry, but this is a boat ride? Like, we don't hire animators here,
I love it.
So we go on the boat. Then the lady says, look, if you want your son to work at Disney, he's got to go to the Disney casting building. It was a Disney office building right there in Disney World. Now, can you imagine what a Disney office building must look like? Whimsical, beautiful, imaginative. The doorknobs look like the ones from the film Alice in Wonderland, the ones that talk, that were made out of brass. And they were sculpted to look like that. I open the doors. I walk into this atrium. Above me are gold statuettes of Mickey, Donald, Pluto, Goofy. Even the air in there had a smell I will never forget. It was like a Disney smell, like pixie dust in the air. They finally call me for the interview, and they say, can I help you? I'm like, yeah, my name is Saul, and my dream is to be a Disney animator. She goes, well, we don't hire those here. I'm like, well, who do you hire? She says, well, we hire people that work the rides. People that make the Dumbo ride go up and down. People that work in the parks. I'm like, that's not my dream.
Right.
She goes, well, hold on a second. She walks out, comes back in 2 minutes later, and hands me a piece of paper. That piece of paper became the most valuable piece of paper I have ever held in my hands, other than my wedding contract. You tell my wife I said that. You know what the paper was?
Got that on tape now, so we record it.
That's right. That paper was a list of 8 schools, 8 art colleges that Disney recruits their artists. And she said to me, if you want to be a Disney animator, you need to go to one of these schools. Boom. That was it. That was the equation that I needed. If you're listening to this right now and you have a goal to accomplish something, if you have clarity in your mind that there's something you want to accomplish or a person that you want to become, you're not going to do it if you don't know how. You need the recipe to creating yourself. And that's what I had in that paper. So I ended up going to one of those art schools in Columbus, Ohio, Columbus College of Art and Design, right near Ohio State. That's what it was called? Yep, it's still there, CCAD.
With all due respect, I've been to Columbus many times. What a terrible city to go to college in. I'm just saying.
Yeah, you didn't like?
I just, it's like a dry city. There's no action. I went there like as a post-college guy that wanted to just party and have fun.
Right.
On business. And I was like, what terrible,
You see, for me, it was the most perfect city because all I wanted to do was draw and focus.
And you did all that.
I wasn't there to party.
You did
now
that.
My brother.
What was some of the other schools? I'm just curious. Do you remember?
My brother went to Michigan, by the way, so I would go 3 hours ahead.
That's where
I would drive 3 hours to go be with him. Yeah. The other schools were. There's a school in California, still there. It's called Cal Arts, and it was actually a school that Walt Disney himself began for his artists.
Wow.
There's a school in Ringling in Sarasota, Florida. In New York City, there was School of Visual Arts, SVA, which is still there.
Yep.
There's a school in Canada, Sheridan, just to name a few.
So these are really highly specialized spots, I guess, right?
These are
That's
the
what I'm
kind of
hearing.
schools. You know what these schools are? These are schools where you have to have discipline. A lot of people think that art is I can create whatever I want, whatever I feel, and you, the viewer, can choose to like it or not. But there actually is a discipline to design. There are fundamentals that need to be learned. Understanding color, design, storytelling. And, you know, it's like once you learn the notes of music, then you can choose to play what you want. Once you learn how to draw the human figure and all the anatomy, then you can choose to be abstract if you want. But a lot of times whenever you see someone who draws abstract, it means they never did the discipline. And they're like, well, I guess I'll be an abstract artist. I'll do my interpretation of life. You mean you never wanted to sit there and actually learn how to draw, is what you mean. So I get to school, and the first week I'm there, I'm surrounded by people that love Disney, everyone. I remember I walked into this one guy's room. He's got Mickey Mouse slippers, Mickey Mouse lunchbox, Mickey Mouse telephone, Mickey Mouse clock.
In college.
Literally Disney World in
college,
a room, right?
I can't believe
Yeah,
that.
and I'm like, what kind of guy wears Mickey Mouse slippers, right?
I can tell you.
And then I see in the corner he's got sketchbooks.
Wow.
So I'm looking at his sketchbooks because it says on the sketchbooks, hands and feet. I'm like, hands. That's one of those things my art teacher had me draw. Let me see how good he is. I start looking through the hands, and I see all his hands are four-fingered white gloves. They're Mickey Mouse hands from like every different position.
Wow.
I'm like, this guy is literally Mickey Mouse crazy. I turn to leave the room, and I bump into the guy whose room it is. Uh-oh, I'm busted. I was looking through his stuff.
Right.
He comes over and looks at me and goes, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm good. What's your name? He says, my name's Jason, but people call me Mickey Mouse Jason. I'm like, they call you what? He goes, Mickey Mouse. I'm like, I heard you. You have a Disney nickname? He's like, what, you don't? I'm like, no, I don't. I go back to my dorm room. I get on the phone with my mom, and I'm like, Mom, if I'm going to fit in art school, I need Disney stuff. Guys, I was surrounded by Disney nerds.
Wow.
And how did I feel? Overwhelmed. 1 week later, a representative from the Walt Disney Studios comes to our school, one of the original animators on Sleeping Beauty. The guy was over 70 years old. He stands on that stage and he looks out to all of us and he says, before I tell you how to get into Disney, show of hands, how many of you want to be Disney animators? Every hand went up.
You're kidding
He goes,
me.
well, just so you know, out of the 500 of you with your hand up, just so you know, maybe 4 of you will ever work there. That's how competitive it is.
Maybe
and when
4.
he said that, I thought one thing. I wonder who the other 3 are going to be.
I love that.
Because in life, you either believe in yourself that you can accomplish or you don't. And I mean deep down. Not what we post on social media, not what we talk about. I mean deep down, do I really believe that I can accomplish?
Correct.
And at that moment in my life, I did believe. Maybe it's because of my supportive parents, or maybe I was just a delusional optimist. I believed in myself.
I got to ask you one question, though. So
Let's go.
You come from Long Island,
Yep.
which is, I want to say, now that I've been through life, we really have a lot of advantages coming from. We're uppity. We're really. I feel like we start off next level. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Like I come from your town. The question I have for you is this: you get to this
You
highly
mean I
special,
come from your town?
100%. Now, was everybody like really talented? Did you see like a lot of say, wow, everybody's talented? I can't draw for a lick. I can't even draw a straight line. So I'm so retarded at that. But when I went down to Wall Street and I was going to be a cold calling a stockbroker, I was shocked at how talented everybody was.
Yeah. I mean, I felt like when I looked around that school, and the reason I chose that school is because every artist in that school was 100 times better than me.
Wow.
I saw work. I'll never forget when I was touring the school before I even applied, and I saw work on the halls, hanging on the walls from years previous, and I saw work that looked like professional illustrators out there, people that were in their 40s and 50s, and it was being done by college students. And I felt intimidated, by the way.
All right, that's good. I'm glad you said that. You were going to go one way or another, in my opinion. You were going to walk in and say, I know I'm going to be Michael Jordan. Or you said, holy cow, everybody here is so, I'm not there.
No, I never said I was going to be Michael Jordan. What I did say is I'm going to work as hard as Michael Jordan.
I love
That's what I said.
Because for me, I felt not. I don't want to use the word intimidated because I never really feel intimidated. It's just something that I've been blessed. I don't get that. But I was like, wow, these people are so good, so good. I know that I'm going to get there. I knew that I had a mountain to climb.
Look, the truth is, if you want to be great, you got to surround yourself with people
That are
that
better.
are greater.
Yep.
Period.
I get it.
And then you grow. Because if you want to level off, surround yourself with people
Or
that are
you
less
quit.
than you.
Or most people quit, or they give up.
Yeah.
You know,
It's just great to have a vision of who we're trying to become.
Exactly.
You know, we're not human beings. We're human becomings. We
love
grow.
that.
We evolve, right? We have to have a vision of where I'm going next. A flower is always growing. Once it reaches that blossom, it's done. What's next? It dies. Right? We have to constantly becoming. Constantly. There's no goal of a destination. We have to constantly grow.
Right.
So this guy stands on stage and he says, if you want to work at Disney, we want to see a portfolio filled with hundreds of drawings of humans and animals from life. No cartoon characters. Especially, he says, no drawings of Mickey Mouse.
Poor
And
Jason.
you see Mickey Mouse Jason in the back, right? He's slouching in his chair. You know, oh boy, you know.
I get it.
But to me, that recipe, that equation was growing. First, it was Saul, you need to go to the school equal dream. Now you need a portfolio, hundreds of pages of figures and animals from life.
But you got that advice from your art teacher in an odd way.
Exactly. Isn't that amazing?
She gave you, well, that's next level.
You're right.
That's Five-Town stuff. That's a good
Five-Town stuff,
Five-Town
baby.
story.
Five-Town stuff.
We had an edge.
You know what? I'll tell you, in the next edge.
Our parents picked a good spot to raise us. That's what all I'm going to say.
For sure. And that first week in school, after that Disney meeting, I remember going to play basketball. And I'm playing basketball, and I see this kid, this college student, sitting there doing drawings of us playing basketball. So I go over to this guy. I'm like, dude, what are you drawing this for? What class is this for? He says, it's not for a class. I go, why are you drawing? He says, I'm always drawing because I want to get better. And his name was Andy. And he was by far, as a freshman, the best artist in the school because the guy never stopped drawing. And I will tell you, he soon became my best friend.
That's the way to do it.
And me just hanging out with someone like that made me a better artist because who you choose to be friends with actually affects who you become.
Mentorship. And that's why people need to talk to Saul Blinkoff if they want to move an audience, if they want to teach. I'm learning from you.
Thank you, brother.
I could be your uncle.
Let's go, Uncle.
I mean,
Let's go, Uncle.
you are just a font of wisdom, and your ability to tell a story is so. I'm engaged.
Thank you, brother. Wait, you have to hear what happens next.
I can't wait. You got me on the hook now.
This is crazy. Wait till you hear this. So me and Andy are inseparable, and I'm becoming a better artist because of his work ethic. And just so you know, it's not because he's a great artist. It's his mindset. That's it.
It's all mindset.
It's his mindset. It's his focus. That's it.
That's it.
And it was the greatest gift I got was being best friends with this guy. Sophomore year comes. I get my best drawings together. I put them in a portfolio. I send them into Disney. A couple months come back later. I get an envelope with a Disney stationery. It's got a gold leaf Mickey embossed on there. My name is typed on the front. Wow, the Disney company knows I'm alive. They got my name on the cover of the envelope. I open it up, and it says, Saul, thanks for sending your portfolio, but you didn't make it. Okay, so I got rejected the first time I tried. I wasn't even intimidated because I was just enjoying the process. And again, the Disney company knew I was alive. I put that rejection letter up over my desk. People were coming into the dorm room. Wow, Blinkoff, the Disney company knows you're alive. It was cool. It's the beginning. Another year goes by. And Andy and I are drawing all the time. One day, you're going to love this story, Ross. One day we go to the Columbus Zoo. Freezing cold, bitter cold day. And for those of you living in Boca or L.A., you have no idea what cold is.
Ohio's cold, boy.
Right, yeah. Ohio, Long Island, Michigan, like freezing. It was that day. 15 of us get on the bus. We go to the zoo to draw animals. The second we get there, we go into this little cafe to get hot chocolate, coffee. Boys start flirting with the girls. Girls are flirting with the boys. After 5 minutes, Andy and I are like, dude, let's sharpen our pencils and go draw. We go out there, and freezing, we find an elephant that's walking back and forth, just repeating the same motion. And we did like hundreds of drawings of this elephant back and forth. After 45 minutes, I get on the bus with Andy, and I'm showing him the drawings I did. He's showing me the drawings he did. And I said to one of the other guys, I said, hey, we never saw you at the elephants. Where were the rest of you? This guy looks up to me, and he says, none of us ever left the cafe. I said, why didn't you leave? He goes, we couldn't leave. I said, why couldn't you leave? He says, it was too cold. I said, what? He goes, it was too cold. Do you know those were the greatest words I ever heard in my life? Because in that moment, I knew one thing. I would outwork every single one of those. And when you hear a story like this, pick a person that inspires you. I've watched The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary,
Me too.
6 times now. 1 time for each of his rings. Sorry, LeBron, you don't have that yet. And every single time I watch that documentary, I walk away with the same mindset. Is, you know what Michael Jordan had that made him so unique? He persevered through pain. If you think you're going to be great at anything and not experience pain, don't even try. My son said to me a year ago, he's like, Dad, I'm going to be on the track team at school. You think it's going to be easy? I go, depends how good you want to be. You want to be good? It'll be easy for you. You want to be great? It's going to be hard. Do you want to be the greatest track runner who ever played? Whoever ran? Then you're going to have to bleed and you're going to have to sweat. How great do you want to be at track? How great do we want to be at life? Pick a person that inspires you. And when we know that something is going to be difficult, we don't have to go through pain at all. We get to grow through pain.
It's not
if
pain.
You want to accomplish, that pain becomes your pleasure because it's showing you that you can beat a test. I'm going to grow through this. So Andy and I get our portfolios together. We send them into Disney. I go home. It's Christmas break. I'm in Long Island. It's a true story.
What year is this now? What year in school are you in?
It's got to be 93.
So third year. You're like a junior.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 4-year school?
Yeah.
Okay.
93. I get a call and it's Andy. I'm like, hey, man, what's up? He's like, Blinkoff, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what am I not going to believe? He goes, I just got a call from the head of Disney Animation. I'm like, yeah, and he goes, I got it. He goes, I got the internship. I'm like, you got the internship? Congratulations. It's amazing. He goes, but they didn't call you yet, did they? I'm like, no. But they could be trying to call me right now. I got to hang out. We didn't have call waiting back then.
No, I get
right?
it.
So I'm pacing in the dining room back and forth. My mom comes in. My dad comes in. My mom's like, what happened? I'm like, Mom, Andy just got the call. She's like, they're going to call you any minute. And I'm waiting, and the phone's not ringing.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, wait a minute. My last name begins with the letter B. His last name begins with H. Shouldn't they have called me first? Shouldn't it be alphabetical? So you know what I did, Ross? I picked up the phone, and I dialed the head of Disney myself. Who does that? Well, I did. Because as I always tell my kids, when there is something you want in your life, you will do anything to get it. You go for it. By the way, growing up in New York, going to Madison Square Garden, quick story. I got to be like 15 years old before one of the Chicago Bulls games. And I'm standing next to the court, next to my older brother, watching Jordan warm up. He's got those breakaway pants with the buttons on, right?
Yeah.
And he's dribbling the ball. And I said to my older brother, Jay, I'm like, Jay, I'm going to go walk out on that court, and I'm going to go meet Michael Jordan. My brother's like, you ain't going nowhere. Before he could finish that line, I walk out there. I walk right out to the middle of the court, and I'm looking right up to him. And I said, hi, Mr. Jordan. And he looks down at me and says, quote, yo, how you doing? End quote. Pretty inspiring, right?
Pretty crazy, right?
And he shook my hand.
Never forget
this one
that.
right here, never washed. So why did I walk out there? Because when there is something you want in your life, you'll do anything to get it. So I called up the head of Disney. I go, hi, my name is Saul. He goes, Saul, I have your name on a list. I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, you didn't make it. I said, what? He goes, yeah, you didn't make it. I said, well, what about Andy? He goes, yeah, he made it. You didn't. I was like, oh, thanks. And I hung up the phone. And that was a bittersweet moment in my life.
Yeah.
Sweet, I was happy for my best friend. Bitter, because my dream was shattered. You know where Andy's going? He's going to Disney World. What do they call Disney World? Happiest place on Earth. What a great tagline, right?
Great tagline.
Basically, Disney's telling you, you can be happy, but if you want to be happiest, you can only do that in Disney World. And Andy's going to sunny, beautiful Disney World, happiest place on Earth.
As an intern.
You know where I'm going back to?
As an intern.
And you know where I'm going back to? Columbus in the wintertime. Bitter cold, gray skies, what I felt was the most depressing place on Earth.
It's right up there.
And I'm walking the halls of school, and everyone's coming up to me, Blinkoff, what are you doing? Oh, you didn't make it. Oh, I'm sorry. Hey, where's Andy? Oh, he got in. You didn't. I became known as the guy who was friends with the guy that got into Disney. I actually became known as the guy who didn't get what he really, really wanted, and people started to see me as a failure. And then when I looked in the mirror, I also saw myself as a failure. And then I came up with the most brilliant way to take that feeling of being a failure away. And by the way, for everyone listening, you can forget everything I've said up until now. Forget all of it. You want to walk out of here with one piece of wisdom to apply to your life, it would be this. If you ever fail in life, and we will fail, because that's what it means to be a human being. If you ever fail in life, you do what I did, and the feeling of failure goes away like that. You know what I did? I gave up. I gave up on the entire dream. Instead of being a person that wants something that's difficult, become a person that doesn't want anything. And if you do that, you too can settle for a life of mediocrity, of just average, where there's no fire in life, where there's no fire of growing. And I gave up. My parents were like, what are you going to do? I'm like, well, I'll go back to being an artist. I'll just be an artist. I'll just be an illustrator one day. But Disney's for people like Andy. That's not for people like me. It's for great artists. It's for, like what you said, Ross, talented artists. That's who Disney's for. Best of the best. Top gun. Not me. So I gave up. And a week later, a buddy calls me up and says, Saul, I got tickets to go see a movie. You want to go? I said, I'm not in the mood. He goes, but they're free. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go. Someone offers you free in college, you take it.
Correct.
So I go see a movie, the third movie that changes the rest of my life. This movie is a true story about a guy that's 5 feet tall. He doesn't have an ounce of athletic ability, and he wants to play football at Notre Dame. What movie is it?
God, I can't think of the name, but I know it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
The movie is Rudy. And if you haven't seen the movie Rudy, hit pause now,
10
watch
times.
the movie, and come right back to this interview.
It's just a testament of will.
It's a testament of will, and it's a true story.
True story.
The guy's 5 feet tall. He's not even athletic, and he wants to play football at Notre Dame. If you were friends with the real Rudy Rudiger, and he told you his dream was to play football at Notre Dame, you know what you would have told him as his friend? Dude, I love you. Get a new dream. What world are you living in? You're short. You're not athletic. But Rudy was like, yeah? Well, we'll just see about that. And he tries to get into Notre Dame and gets rejected. Tries a second time, rejected. Third time, rejected. But fourth time, if you look at the movie poster for the movie Rudy, it says on the poster, when people tell you dreams don't come true, tell them about Rudy. He gets in. And tears are streaming down my face, and I'm thinking one thing. If an unathletic guy like that could get his dream, then what I felt was an untalented artist like me could get his dream, and I vowed to never give up again. I get on the phone the next day. I call the head of Disney, and I go, hi, this is Saul. He goes, yeah, Saul, I already told you didn't make it. I'm like, yeah, but let me ask you a question. How close was I? He said, Saul, we picked 17 students from over 3,800 portfolios around the world. And I said, and how close was I? He goes, you made it to number 20. What?
Right on the
I only missed it by 3? Do you know how many times in our lives we could be so close to achieving something, we feel we're miles away, and all we needed to do is push a little bit more? And then I asked him the billion-dollar question. Why did I not get in? Because when we fail in life, you find out why. You got a boss that fires you, you don't say to your friends, hey, they're an idiot. They don't know anything. You go find out why.
Right.
And if you have a soulmate, if you're married, and you're lucky to have one person in your life that you trust, you beg them to give you the answer key to where your flaws are. And the guy told me, he's like, honestly, you need to work on your perspective. I'm like, what do you mean? He says, instead of drawing animals and people from where your eye line is, go down and look up, or stand on a stool and look down. Give us a dynamic perspective.
Wow.
Boom. Answer key. I work on a whole new portfolio.
That's very specific advice, bro.
Yeah.
Very specific.
That was gold for me. It was gold, right?
It was like
and
hands.
I work on my portfolio, and just like the hands, and I work on my whole new portfolio. I send it into Disney, and boom. When you wish upon a star. I got in. I started my dream at Disney. I started on the internship and got to work on films like Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Mulan, Tarzan. Eventually became a director at Disney, did a bunch of Disney movies, then to DreamWorks and Netflix. And I will tell you, though, there was nothing like the first day I walked into that studio. I will never forget. And I look in this room, and there's a name tag over a desk, like a nameplate. Saul Blinkoff, Long Island kid. Long Island kid.
Five
Who got
Towns
his
boy.
dream. Five Towns boy who got his dream. And I want everyone to know one thing that's important. I do not want you to think that you heard a story today of a really talented artist that got into Disney. That's
You're
not
pretty
what this
talented.
is.
You have to be pretty talented.
This was a story of one of the worst artists in his school who became a Disney animator. And if you want to walk out of here with one thing, it's remember, nobody wakes up great at anything.
No.
Nobody wakes up great,
Not great
at anything. And I promise you, and I tell this to my kids, if I could achieve a little slice of that greatness, then I tell my kids, you can achieve 100 times more. At the end of the day, what's holding us back?
Your story is so inspirational, and your ability to deliver it is just next level, because you are an amazing storyteller.
You're so sweet. Thank you, brother.
And I'm guessing that you practiced at it too. And that's everything, because this is your craft. This is you have ability now to inspire, to motivate, to generate interest, to be that guy. There are some kids, probably some young people out there in the world that are going to be lucky to stumble upon this podcast or others featuring my man, Saul Blinkoff.
Thank you, brother.
And they're going to say, you know what? Thank God I saw this, because that's why I podcast, just so you know. I podcast because it's my way of meeting great, amazing people.
Wow.
Of being able to share great stories and to be able to influence people. Because my dad died when I was 16.
Wow.
Grew up on Cliffside Avenue. He was my everything. Wow. And I took it very badly.
Wow.
And I went right into drugs and alcohol. I went on a run, a 17-year run.
Wow.
And in a blackout, somehow God was looking out for me. And somehow I found Wall Street. And, I learned the craft, the trade. So I created an ability to be able to provide for myself and the people that I love at a very high level.
You just said the word ability. Let me focus on that for a minute. I'm really happy you said that word. People hear, animated films, they think they're for kids, and the truth is they are for kids, but they're also for teens and adults, and there's so much depth to a great animated movie. One of the most inspiring animated movies for me is a movie I did not work on. It came out right before I got to Disney, and it's The Lion King, okay?
Great movie.
Especially as a father-son story, which must have really moved you.
And everybody.
And everybody.
That movie transcended, just for children. And I just want to say one thing, because I don't go for animated movies, generally speaking.
Yeah.
But once in a while, a great animated movie it cuts across all age ranges, all genders, all races, colors, creeds. Great is great.
Great is
great.
Wow.
And I'm not an artist. I don't have the ability to analyze and strategize and all these different things. But there's one thing about Ross Mandel. I recognize greatness. I always like to say to my people, because I'm building a media company called Raw Media.
Oh, great.
And I teach my people, I say, talent recognizes talent and greatness recognizes greatness. And I recognize greatness in you, Saul. I just want you to know.
Thank you
I
so much,
recognize
brother.
it today. Didn't know. I watched some of your content. I see that I thought that you were solid. The word I use is solid. That's a big compliment for me.
Thank you.
Because I was, I was speaking. My job was to motivate the alpha of alpha males.
Right.
$3 trillion trade his hands on Wall Street. You think they need me to get them motivated?
Right.
I'm talking to guys. Everybody makes between $300,000 and $30 million a year, and my job is to get in there and get them excited for the deal and get them excited for today.
Oh yeah.
And these are motivated people. And guys would come to me on the street that are making $600,000, $700,000, $800,000 a year and say, "How do I get to that friggin' million? I can't get to that million." And I remember my struggle to get to $1 million. And then one year I made more than $1 million a week.
Wow.
So and all from nothing. And a guy that had probably a lot less talent than most people.
Right.
But I had I had that grit, that moxie, that Rudy in me and said, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm not. And even the guys at Raw Media today say to me, guy sitting in this room right now said, you know what? I said to my wife, I'm not going to quit because this guy will never quit.
Yeah.
So as long as he keeps coming, I'm going to. And there's something said about a greatness, having that grit. That takes greatness. That takes some sort of inner fortitude or some sort of insanity.
Right.
But you have it, Saul. I love
Thank
this
you, brother.
story.
You're so sweet. Thank you. Well, let me tell you, there's a great, you said the word ability. And in the film Lion King, right, we all remember the film. If you haven't seen it, hit pause and go watch it. Simba, in the beginning, sings about what he wants. He sings the song, I Just Can't Wait to Be King. He's a kid. He wants power. And his father, Mufasa, who is voiced by James Earl Jones, says, Simba, there's more to being a king than getting your way all the time. Simba's
What a voice he had, by the way. What a voice.
He had such a voice, right? And Simba's like, there's more to being a king? Really? Wow. There's more? And father's like, he doesn't get it. So something happens to dad. What happens to dad? Spoiler alert. It is a Disney movie. They always have to kill off a parent, right?
Always.
So they kill off dad. Dad dies, and Simba thinks it's his fault and goes and lives in Hakuna Matata world. Remember? Mm-hmm. And do you remember what Hakuna Matata means? What do those words mean? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Hakuna Matata, what a wonderful phrase. It means no worries for the rest of your days. Hakuna Matata means no worries. And do you want to know who wants a life of no worries? All of us. We all want a life of no worries. And by the way, if you want a life of no worries, don't get married.
Don't have
if
children.
you want a life of no worries, don't have kids, right? But
Don't,
we all
don't
want
live
a
to
life
old
of no
age
worries.
if you want no worries, because you ain't going to have that
That's
happening.
Right. You're going to have it. So he lives there. He's hanging out with Pumbaa and Timon, sleeps in a jacuzzi, hangs out in a hammock all day. He has everything you could ever want. It's beautiful. There's waterfalls and colored flowers. It's Hawaii. That's the life that all of us want. We all think that if I work really hard and make a lot of money, I will have the power to do whatever it is that I want to do. And I can have a life of pleasure and comfort. That's got to be the goal of life. And that's exactly what Simba has. But towards the end of the movie, somebody shows up. Who finds him? Nala, the little lioness he grew up with. And she can't believe she finds him, and they sing their song, right. Can you feel the love tonight? They're rolling around, the sun is setting, it's beautiful.
Little Elton John.
Little Elton John. And then after a few moments, she's like, Simba, it's really good to see you, but you got to come back with me. And Simba's like, what are you talking about? Look where I live. Why would I leave this? She's like, no, maybe I didn't make myself clear. Right. Your Uncle Scar has taken over everything, and if you don't come back with me, everyone is going to die, and you are responsible. Then you know what he says? Hakuna Matata.
Right.
I'm staying right here.
He's in Boca. Like, he's in Boca.
He's in Boca. That's right. And she goes, what do you mean? And he goes, I'm staying right here. She goes, and she sings the phrase, why won't he be the king I know he is, the king I see inside? And she leaves him alone. Do you know who she's really talking to? All of us.
Correct.
When are we going to be the king that we're meant to be? When are we going to be the queen that we're meant to be? What holds us back? He's left alone. And Rafiki, the baboon, comes over, finds him, hits him on the head, sees his reflection, looks up to the sky, and Simba sees in the sky his father in the clouds. And his father says the words, remember who you are. Remember who you are. This is not what your life is supposed to be. You're a king. And Simba goes back and defeats Scar, and Lion King becomes the biggest animated movie in history, BF, before Frozen. And do you know why it became the biggest animated movie in history? Not because that we love movies about lions. No, it's because that movie gave us a glimpse of what true greatness is. You know what it is? Waking up with a singular mindset to take responsibility for the world. You see, you use the word ability, and each one of us listening has passions and abilities. And life says to us, wherever you have an ability to respond, you're responsible. Responsibility is wherever I have the ability to respond.
I love that.
So if you want to go through life like everyone else, because if you ask 99% of the world, what do they want? You know what they're going to tell you? I want a life of happiness. But that is not what life is about. There's something so much sweeter than a life of happiness, and that is a life that's meaningful. And there's one way to have a meaningful life, Take responsibility for the world. Okay, so I worked at Disney, and I got my name in lots of Disney movies. Someday, every single one of us, I want you to picture your name right now. Picture your name the way you look at it on a check, on your credit card, where you have all your money, and there's your name. Guess what? One day, your name will be printed for the last time on stone. We're going to die. It's inevitable. And what is the legacy that we're leaving our children? What is the legacy that we leave the world? You know what I want my kids to remember? Not that their dad drew on Pocahontas. I want them to remember, you know what? Their dad tried to become a better version of himself. He tried to live a life of humility, tried to have a life of integrity. And at the end of the day, the greatest challenge we will ever have in our lives is not getting to work at Disney or not getting to work in Wall Street. The greatest challenge we will ever have is, how do I work on myself? What kind of person do I become along the way? Did Steve Jobs make great iPhones? Sure. But what kind of man did he become along the way? That's the legacy we need to leave the world.
You want to know something very interesting? He was very unhappy at the end of his life. He recognized that he wasn't the man he should have been. He was a bad father.
That's right.
He was a mean person.
That's right. He sure was.
He was so arrogant, he refused medical attention that would have prolonged his life by 20 or 30 years, they say. I'm just saying. So yeah. I love what you're saying, and I want to comment on a couple of quick things. You know, you struck a chord in me. Do you believe in God, Saul?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in our scripture, in the Old Testament, which, by the way, both Islam and Christianity believe in
right. Their foundation is the Old Testament.
And what we call the Torah.
That's
and
right.
It says that we were created in God's image. And my God is the king of the universe. I pray to the guy that created the universe. He's a king. So God is with me. I was created in his image. I have the ability to be a king.
Yep,
and this adventure we go through from birth to death, it's an adventure. And I love the way you broke down responsibility. And I do believe that we're all born with greatness and for greatness. And I feel a lot of people punk out and take the easy, what they believe the easy, safe, secure way. Most people that I met along the way that had that philosophy have tremendous regrets because they shied away from certain responsibility. One of the things you brought up, Steve Jobs, because I've read Walter Isaacson's biography of him, and read it twice. And you know, he was a miserable guy in many ways, and he fell short in many ways, but he did achieve greatness in many ways. Left behind $6 billion. But had he lived, and he should have lived, he would have done a lot more, and he would have been better. And the thing to me, like you talked about your children, at the end of life, what do you think? There's nothing left. Like you see, take nothing with you. The only people that really care about you are your children.
Can't take it with you.
You know, after 20, 30, 50 years, nobody remembers anything. And he was, excuse my French, a dick of a father. So it's very interesting, you know, because that also, I just have a natural proclivity that, you know, was drilled in my head. Nothing matters more than your family, your children, all these different things. I'm very family first.
Right.
And, you know, you create a family, you have children, you select a wife or vice versa. And I believe the friends, the people you associate with, you're Andy in your story.
That's right.
You know, they become family. You know, if
you said earlier you would mentor these guys making hundreds and thousands of millions a year. And what are the things that we could say to them? And I'll tell you, when I travel the world and I speak for corporations, 500 Fortune companies, I also am a life coach and executive coach.
Exactly. You must be incredible.
Thank you, brother. And I want to tell you, there's one thing that I say to a lot of these guys and women, and that is, you know, you could be sitting in your life and looking around and you're like, yeah, things are good. Things are good. So I look at a person like that and I say, okay, so why not make them great?
Exactly.
And then you'll be a person sitting there and you'll say, yeah, but no, my life is great. I'm like, oh, it's great? Why can't it be awesome?
Exactly.
And what aspect of life? Every aspect. Not just career. every aspect of life.
Correct.
If someone comes up to you and they say, how's your day going? You're like, yeah, my day, it's good. They'll be like, okay. But if they come up to you and they say, how's your day going? You say, how's my day going? It's awesome. They'll be like, why, what happened? Did you have a big deal go down?
Correct.
Did you meet your soulmate? Did you win the lottery? But what if you had the mindset, no, you don't understand. It's just awesome to be alive.
I love that.
It's awesome to be alive.
It's a gift.
And it's a gift. And you know why? And you said it beautifully. You said we are created in the image of God.
The King.
And the King is known as the Creator. And the pleasure that we experience when we live creating, we're tapping into that kingship.
100%.
And what does it mean to create? It doesn't mean you have to be artistic. The greatest thing we will ever create is not our children, by the way. It's creating ourselves.
Well, I get that. I love that.
And we create ourselves through the work of becoming a mother and father. Through the work of marriage, you are creating yourself. And that's the true pleasure of life.
And recreating yourself. I feel as
every day, every moment.
I've learned,
exactly
yes,
right.
because the world is reborn every day.
Beautiful.
That's why a day is only 24 hours. I want to ask you, Saul, because listening to you, it seems that you've had one or two hiccups maybe, but not really, and you've had a beautiful life. You married?
Yeah, of course. 4 kids.
How many women were you married to?
One woman.
Just
one?
one?
Woman, 25 years, 26 years, almost 26
4
years.
children with the same wife?
Same wife, 4 children.
You realize
Our youngest is
you're
12.
like an outlier in California. I mean, it's
I know. Well, I always say they don't get married.
And for that business, I never heard of such a
They
thing.
try out marriage here. They don't get married.
Right, exactly right. I have friends, they said, I'm married 35 years. I said, wow. They said, yeah, but to 4 women.
Yeah, but see, my wife's from Hewlett also. So
Is she?
She comes from good stock, dude.
I
Let's
love
go.
it. What was her name? What's her maiden name?
Goldenberg. Yeah, she lived behind Wall's Bakery.
I used to date a Judy Goldenberg from Hewlett.
Is that right? Maybe they're related.
Hewlett High School. So let me ask you a question. Have you experienced any real pain in your life? Any real down times?
Oh my gosh!
Tell me. I feel whatever greatness that you own. Your perspective comes from your pain, not from your wins.
All right, let's take 2 sides to it. By the way, I don't think I've never shared what I'm about to share with you. How about that?
I want to hear that.
I've been interviewed on hundreds of podcasts, and I've never even said this.
I want to feel your pain.
So my parents were divorced when I was about less than a year old.
Wow.
And I actually grew up before Long Island in Northeast Philadelphia.
Wow.
Okay. So I'm a little old school Philly in there.
Okay.
Was actually a Sixers fan as a kid before I
get
found
all that.
the Knicks.
I get all that, by the way.
Yeah. And then there were times when so my parents get divorced, and we're living in Philadelphia, and my dad lives in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. It's like a 40-minute car
I know it
ride
very
away.
well.
And
Dr. Schwartz, he was the
there you go.
big general practitioner in Cherry Hill.
And there were many times growing up where my dad would get busy. He was a doctor, and like he didn't show up to get us. And I remember sitting on the steps and like him not showing up. And I remember that pain as a kid of like my dad not showing up. And then my mom remarries an incredible man who's my stepfather to this day. And we moved to Long Island. I'm 8 years old, 1980.
Was he Blinkoff?
No, his last name is Lantz, Lantz.
Okay.
So my biological father's Blinkoff. Oh, we're going deep cuts right now. Okay.
I want to hear a little bit.
So when I turned 12, we moved to New York, to Long Island. And then I never speak or see my father again.
Your biological father?
My biological father. Now, you have one question in your head, right? What's the question?
Never?
Why? Why?
Never? You said never again?
Why not? Yeah, why? Why? What happened?
Well, now that's my next question is what happened?
So nothing happened. That's the weirdest thing. Nothing happened. It was just we became estranged from each other, from me, my brother, and my twin sister.
All 3 of you never saw your father?
All 3 of us never speak to him again.
What kind of man is this?
Well, watch this. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 29 years old, and my father reaches out. His parents died. My father reaches out. He's lonely, and he wants to mend the relationship. And there's a lot of pain in there.
Oh, my goodness.
And, I realized before I met with him to discuss and to talk, I wasn't going to ask him the question, why did we never see him? Because there is no answer. The question, there was no question. What I wanted to convey to him is the pain that I felt. There's a movie, Mrs. Doubtfire. Remember that movie with Robin Williams?
It was a great movie.
Great movie, right? And there's a scene in that movie where he's in court and he's like telling the court, I need my children. My children are my oxygen, he says.
Yes.
And I remember sitting with my dad and I said to him, were we not your oxygen? And if we were, how did you not breathe all those years? Did you not breathe? And, he had his own struggles and whatever. And I'm not pointing a finger to him. That's his accountability. But I will say this, and here comes the point. We started to mend a relationship, and today we have a close relationship now.
Wow.
20-something years later. He's part of my children's life, and he got remarried. But the reason I bring it up to you is because I will tell you that throughout all that pain, and even when I saw The Lion King, I'll never forget when I saw the father died, I remember crying, thinking I have a biological father out there. I remember when I worked at Disney on the internship and all through those movies at Disney MGM Studios, there used to be an animation tour that you could walk through, like guests could walk through and watch animators work. And my first job on Pocahontas was sitting by the glass. And all day, thousands of guests would walk by the glass and watch me working. And do you know that every time I looked up, I would imagine that he was going to be there?
Maybe your father would show up.
Because there were newspaper articles written.
Because you were proud of what you were doing.
There were newspaper articles written about me. Long Island kid goes to Disney. And I thought, and the internet was out now. And I'm like, he could find out where I am. I mean, he could show up and be at that glass. But you know what? He never showed up. And I will tell you, and this is the point. Did I feel pain? You're damn right I did. And you know what I did about it? I took all of that pain and I focused it into purpose.
To your art.
And the purpose was me being a father. Into my life as a father.
How old were you when you got married?
I was 29.
Was he invited to the wedding?
No. I was 29 when I had my first kid. No. See, my wife's going to help me with the ages. She's the brain in the art.
I understand. But the question I have is,
bar mitzvahs, when I had my first kid,
bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs, weddings.
Yeah.
None of that.
He came to some of it.
Okay.
Oh, no, not for me. None of mine.
Right.
Oh, nothing. Oh. No, we never spoke nothing. But once we started putting the relationship, he would be
Your
part
children,
of our kids'
right.
lives. But I want to tell you that whatever pain that we felt in life and that we feel, that is a tool for us not only to focus in on our own purpose, because I will tell you, that was my fire. That was my energy and my motivation to become a great father.
Rage. You had rage at some level. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The personal question. So you meet this woman that you married or you met, you knew her from high school, you knew her from growing up, right? You knew her, right?
Yeah, we went to high school together,
right.
But we never spoke in high school. We met in a mall in South Florida, Plantation.
I get it.
4 years later.
So here's my question. You start. What's your wife's first name?
Marion.
Like
Maid Marion.
I love it. And so
we both have old names. Saul
you and Marianne are getting to know each other. You're fooling around. You're dating. And at some point,
in case her father's listening, we didn't touch each other till we were married.
Of course not.
Okay.
You're just getting to know each other now.
Yeah.
But here's the question. At some point, she says to you, "What about your dad?" And you say, you start talking about, your dad, Lance,
sure.
And then you said, "No. What about your biological father?"
Yeah.
I can I'm trying to imagine that conversation. What happened?
Oh yeah.
What do you say? What's your answer?
You know what it was?
He just fucking left and I never saw him again?
She brought, when she would talk about my dad with me, and I talked to her about openly about anything, all the vulnerability of my life, I opened up to her.
But this is really big stuff.
Oh, yeah. You have to be vulnerable with the person who's your soulmate. You got to be real. And she saw the pain that I had from that relationship. By the way, also the pain that my brother had, my older brother.
Correct.
He was overprotective. I mean, he felt it worse because he was a year and a half older.
He was the oldest, right?
And so he had an even closer relationship with
And
him.
the
because,
system, women are like, very sensitive. I mean,
yeah. And by the way,
what's
to this
wrong?
day,
Why does my dad not want to friggin' talk to me or not in my life? Why
yeah.
isn't he
And by
proud
the
of
way,
me?
and by the way, my twin sister to this day has no relationship with him.
I
She
get it.
hasn't really forgiven
I
him.
understand
My brother has
that.
a little. Look, here's the thing. My father, first of all, my biological father is still alive. I don't know if he'll find this podcast, and if he did, I'm trying to be sensitive to his feelings in case he were to listen. But even if he were to listen, it's not like I'm saying anything he doesn't know. But I will say this, and these are the facts. The facts are that he was, and I'll say it very sensitively, he was very, very protected by his parents. Some might say overprotected.
Spoiled.
And
But I mean, let me ask you. So hold on. So
let me
you
say
had
this one thing.
grandparents. The grandparents didn't want to see you. That's a whole other thing.
Oh no.
You understand? I can't wait to be a grandfather.
I know, me too, brother. I hear you. Look, here's the thing. The catalyst for him reaching out to us was the death of his parents. That's what tells you a lot.
It tells you everything. I hate to say it. Not good people. They're bad people.
Well, I'm not. I have
You've learned to live
memories.
with it. I'm judging them for you. I'm judging them for you because you know what? Even if you're estranged from your parents, being a grandparent is a privilege. There's no guarantee in life you're going to be a grandparent.
You want to know something? Also, I feel sad for them that they never really got the pleasure.
Correct.
And I feel sad for my dad that he missed out
100%
on 25 years.
Terrible.
It's a tragedy for him. And that's why, because I feel bad for him, that's why I try to have a relationship with him now and to reach out. And, my mom doesn't understand that I have that relationship with him. And, he wasn't there for you and didn't show up for you. And I'm like, but he's still part of my story. Yeah. And he's still my biological father. And there's a piece of him within me. There's a piece of where we come from within us as we're understanding who we are as we're going forward.
It's a huge piece. I'm going to say my father, he died suddenly of a heart attack. I'm 16 years old. It's era of Rosh Hashanah. The first night, it's New Year.
That's when he died.
He's never sick a day. He's 48 years old. My mother's 38 years old. I'm 16. My brother's 13. He was my North Star. He was my everything. I played football that day. I was on Lawrence High School team. It was the best game I ever had. It was the beginning of the season in September, Jewish holidays, and his friend came to the game, and he was so proud. I blocked the punt. I scored a touchdown. All these good things, and so proud. We went to Carvel, in Hewlett, North Peninsula Boulevard. I don't know if it's still around. Yeah, with the China Jake. Where the Chinese restaurant was there. Yeah. To make a long story short, he had indigestion at dinner. I went upstairs. When I felt, he said goodnight to me. He went to bed. They woke me up at like 1 a.m. He was feeling sick. They called an ambulance, but don't worry, it's going to be okay. I stayed by the phone till 3:30. My mother called from the hospital, payphones. Your dad had a heart attack.
Oh my!
But he's okay. He's in a room now. He's, your father. He's joking around with the nurses. My father used to, was always flirting with nurses and women. All these different. He was playful.
Good sense of humor, right?
While my mother was making that phone call to me, he had a massive heart attack, sitting alone in his room. No ICU, no IVs, no baby, no all the things they know now what to do. And he had a massive heart attack in the hospital and died. We sued for negligence. Of course, we didn't win, but it was a whole thing. Oh, and so I went to sleep after that call because I was told everything was good. I go to sleep around 4:30, and I wake up to a house full of people. Everyone came over. The shiver began. I just wake up. I thought he was fine, and then he's dead. So I'm extremely sensitive to anything to do with. I would give everything I ever had just to have one day with my father. You know what I mean?
Yeah, one more moment with him.
It defined my life. I'm authentic. I'm real. I talk about things. I talk about my pain. I talk about my addictions. And I went to federal prison. I talk about that openly because I think we all love movies. I listen to the way you quote movies and sing songs, and I love it because
right.
I'm a Netflix binger, a Prime Video guy, a Hulu guy. I love movies. I love TV. I love, and I'm building a media company. But wow. I will tell you that real life is what makes movies so powerful. When you can capture a story on the screen about a relationship between a father and son, Lion King. When you talk about a desire to walk on earth and Ariel, wanting what you don't have.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, human nature, all that good stuff, And so I believe that the medium that we're using right now, the podcast medium, which is unregulated, uncensored, unedited, this is all going to be, beginning, it's going to be as is. People want to hear about your pain. They want to hear about the terrible things you went through because they're going through it. In real life, people experience terrible shit.
That's
much worse than any movie.
Common.
Movie is 2 hours, 3 hours. A series, 10 hours, 15 hours.
Right.
You know what I'm saying. So that's why I ask these questions, not to, just spend a lot of time, but you're a spectacular young man to me. Everybody's getting young now. The longer you live, and the alternative is terrible. But, you're a spectacular young man that has so much greatness in him.
Thank you, brother.
And you have an ability to share and convey. And so I just wanted to see where some of the impetus or your conquest come from. And I think that pain, that rage you must have had when, everyone says to you, where's your dad? And you're like, that's my stepdad. Where's your dad? I don't know.
And no answer.
That's crazy.
No answer.
That would have frustrated me.
At least an answer, yeah. And, by the way, there's ways that I internalize that. Is there something I did? I was 8 years old. Right. I mean, I was 12. I was 12 years old. Like, is there something I did wrong? And I had to learn how to not see because all of us want our fathers to be proud of us.
100%.
Right? And I'm sure, through all the accomplishments you've had in your life after your father passed, I'm sure you felt a deep connection to him and knowing he was looking down at you and you were doing a lot of it for him. True?
Listen, my mother passed about a year ago. And I just want you to know, during this podcast, I was thinking I wish my mother could see this. She would have loved you, Saul. The Five Towns connection and your story.
You know what makes me happy is she got to see you and see the life that you've built for your family and the fact that you even have a podcast and that you are taking responsibility for the world. That's what you're doing through your podcast and through your media company, and the great pleasure that you've given her throughout her life to see the man that you've become. That's a meaningful life.
Well, it's a work in
progress.
I'm a work in
life
progress.
Of awesome. That's a life of awesome.
But this is an awesome podcast. It's awesome to meet you. I mean, you show persistence, grit, resilience. So many people are stuck in ordinary lives, and what's the first step when people sign up to be mentored with you or want to become part of your mastermind, or you're addressing a corporation? What's the core message you want to deliver?
The core message is this. There's a message that I give to high school kids, and I also give it to successful business owners and CEOs. It's the same message. It doesn't matter if you have zero in your bank account or everything in your bank account. Don't let others define how you feel about yourself. So what does it mean?
Great message.
It means don't try to take the pain you have because you didn't fit in high school or you weren't on the star football team, whatever, in high school, and think that you're going to make all this money later to overcompensate for not feeling good about yourself because they didn't accept you. Your father didn't talk to you for 20-something years. Don't think that getting into Disney is ever going to make him proud. We have to look in the mirror and become proud ourselves.
The man in the mirror. You've heard that one, right?
That's right. Don't give others the control over how we feel about ourselves. We need to look at ourselves real. And you know what that means? It means warts and all, flaws and all. Don't try to just portray the perfect side of us to others. Show the vulnerability, show what's real, and ultimately realize that the greatness is that I'm working on myself. Like you said it beautifully, we're a work in progress.
Right.
So that's the first step. It's not giving that control to others. The second is realize how difficult it is to accomplish what you want to do, and realize just because something isn't probable doesn't mean it's not possible.
Exactly.
Just because something isn't probable. It is not probable that a kid like me in that room, surrounded by 500 other students that were all better than me, would get into Disney. It wasn't probable. I wasn't the talented kid. It wasn't probable that Rudy, who's 5 feet tall, would get into Notre Dame. But guess what? It doesn't mean it's not possible. You know, the first guest I ever had on my podcast was the actual Rudy Rudiger. I had him on my podcast.
Wow. You know, impossible is I'm possible. That's how I look at it.
Boom. Well, you should end the episode now because that's the mic drop. That was beautiful.
I'm possible. Well, I love what you said about responsibility.
Yeah, and that's it.
Love
and
that.
you know,
I'm going to borrow that.
Rudy was the first guest I ever had on my podcast. And the beautiful thing, not only did he share his story on my podcast, by the way, is called Life of Awesome. That's the name of my podcast.
I should be on your podcast because
okay, we're going to do that.
That defines me.
Awesome, brother. And you know what? I got to tell him the impact he made on my life.
That's amazing.
So for all of you listening, it's not how do I go through life and get my dream and how do I get my Disney and my money and all these things that I want. It's how do I take my passions and abilities and serve humanity. Winston Churchill had a beautiful quote. He said, we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give.
Correct.
And when I speak for corporations, I'm not interested in speaking on how to become more successful at making a living. You can bring in lots of people to do that. I'm interested in speaking in how to become successful at making a life. You know, you need integrity in the workplace. Integrity. You know what it means, integrity? It means that your word has to matter. And everybody in the workplace knows if you tell a client, I will have this for you Monday at 9 a.m., then you should do it. Because if you don't, they're going to fire you and you will lose money. So everybody in business knows you got to have integrity. Your word is to matter in business. Because if you don't have it, you're going to lose money. And damn it, money's valuable. Okay, what about your integrity when you get home? Yeah, I got a 12-year-old daughter, and I say to her, honey, you know, I'm going to spend time with you this Sunday at 12 o'clock. We're going to spend time. But then a business call comes up, and I'm like, you know what, honey, I'm sorry, I can't do it. But I'm not going to lose money. She's my daughter. She'll understand. You know what you lose with your daughter? You lose a relationship.
I get that, boy. I tell you, I have 2 daughters. They hold me to the fire, let me just say.
You know what, can I share one more quick thing for you?
Oh, please.
One more thing. Every single one of us listening, we can all open up our phones, and to the penny, we know exactly how much money we have. There's no surprises. You know exactly how much money you have. Not only do you know how much money you have, every single one of us, if we wanted to, can make more money. Some of you are listening, you're like, no, I'm trying in business. I'm trying to make more money. I'm trying to get to that extra million. Hold on. If you wanted to, you could go to Trader Joe's, and you could say, hey, I want to bag groceries. I want to get some extra hours. Would you hire me? And you could make a little extra money if you wanted to. And money is valuable, but it's not the most valuable. See, the most valuable thing we have is time.
Right.
And the truth is, not even Jeff Bezos himself can ever make more. And the truth is, none of us will ever have a clue how much we have left.
That's the
translation. It means one thing. It means that our time is the most valuable thing that we have. And I tell you that to say, I did not come on this podcast to waste your time. And I urge every single one of you, every time you come to a podcast, open up a book, a TED Talk, whatever it is, you have to have a singular mindset. My goal is not to hear things that are going to validate how I already live my life. The goal has to be I want to hear something that I haven't heard before. Because if we can change our mindset in one thing, that's what life is about. And be careful, though. Because if you leave a podcast like this and you're inspired, you've wasted your time. Because inspiration comes and goes. Inspiration slips through our fingertips. 1 minute it's, wait, what did Ross say? What did Saul say? Then 2 days later, you go back to your life. The goal can't be to be inspired. It needs to be, I need to live inspired.
I love that.
And when you leave a podcast, a TED Talk, a book, whatever it is, it has to be simply, I have to change my mindset because I need to change what I do. I have to turn it into action, and that has to be small steps. That's the kind of thing that I speak about on stages. That's the kind of thing that I do when I'm working with people, executive coaches, or coaching anybody. And I coach people on parenthood, on marriage, on business, on hitting the gym, whatever it is you want to do. And it's all those small incremental steps where
Life
we
coaching.
overcome.
Life coaching.
Life coach. It's for life, man.
I get it.
You
Listen,
know?
I have maybe my closest friend who just went through a personal tragedy.
Wow.
And
sorry.
I feel responsibility. I have the ability to respond to him. I break it down like you said.
Yeah.
And I got him to go to the gym. I hooked him up with a trainer who's really just off next level. And yesterday he thanked me. He had just come back from a training session. It's a guy that's 70 years old, hasn't been to the gym in 25 years, and just had a real, suffered a real loss. And when you come out of that gym, especially if you're being trained by somebody that's really good, you feel great. You can't help it. It's chemistry. It's brain chemistry. Endorphins.
It's energy. It's energy.
And now he's watching what he eats, and he's got I've changed his whole mindset. I didn't think he noticed, but yesterday he said to me, he's my best friend. I speak to him like sometimes 3 times a day. He says, "Thank you, bro. I really appreciate it."
Wow.
Because he's very stubborn. So I understand what you're saying.
You know what you just said. Also, it's a beautiful thing. There's a piece of Jewish wisdom that says if you save one life, you've saved the world.
You saved the entire world.
Right? So all of us want to change the world. Steve Jobs, he changed the world. We hear these stories.
He changed the world.
The Beatles changed the world.
Yeah, they
did. Right?
Walt Disney changed the world.
Changed the world. He sure did. And you want to change the world?
And Saul Blinkoff is changing the world.
I'm trying.
One company at a time. Now, before we wrap up, I have a last question. I love to ask this. At first, I thought it was just too corny. But, it's really interesting because we talked about time. Time is an acronym. I teach this to people. It's things I must earn. Okay? A lot of things come down to time, why you don't have the money, the job, the love, why you don't have the body, the health. Time stands for things I must earn. You can apply that commodity we call time, and like you said, none of us know. None of us know when it's over.
Yeah.
What are we going to see? You're such a brilliant young man, and I think you really found a groove. In 5 years, what am I going to see from Saul Blinkoff? And I hope I don't go 5 years.
Let's go. Okay, here we go. That's an easy question for me. That's the easiest question you've asked.
It's a setup.
So it's a setup. I love it. So people often use the word dreams. They're like, "Oh, what's your dream?" My dream was to be a Disney animator. My dream is this. Be careful of the word dreams, because dream means it's something that's not, so realistic. People have dreams when they're sleeping. So if you have a dream for something, I tell people the first thing is forget the word dream and turn that same thing into a goal. All of a sudden it becomes it's something that's tangible.
You got to have goals. They have to be tangible, and you have to write them down.
It's a goal. And take your most lofty quote-unquote dream.
Correct.
And now think of it as a goal. I'm going to tell you exactly what I want to be doing in 5 years. And man, I'm going to try to make it happen.
No.
I'm going to put
There is no
everything I
try.
have.
There is no try.
Do or do not,
That
as
is
Yoda
correct.
says. Right?
Correct.
So here's the deal. For me, 5 years from now, I'm working on my first book, which has my whole life story in there.
I love it.
I'm actually working on 2 books at a time.
Do you have a title, a working title yet?
I'm just talking to a potential publisher right now, so we'll see. I can tell you the second book is called Life of Awesome, which is my brand. That's my podcast.
Love that.
Because that's where I'm going to be sharing life wisdom for all aspects of life. The first book is really my story that I kind of shared a little bit with you, but there's a lot more to it.
It's an amazing story.
Thank you, brother. There's a lot more to that story, and a lot more failure, and a lot more ups and downs, the roller coaster of life. And I make sure that in that story, and anytime I speak, I'm sharing tools for the audience. That's it. I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to talk about me so I can give you something for you. That's the goal. So there's the books. Let's put that to the side. I'm working on a really cool project right now. Do you remember the Sherman Brothers? These were the Disney musicians that wrote all the music to Mary Poppins, Winnie the Pooh, It's a Small World, the song we were singing
Amazing.
earlier.
Mary
Right.
Poppins is amazing.
Jungle Book, Chitty Chitty Bang
the talent
Bang.
is nuts.
Right? These are like the best songwriters.
They're up there.
Two Jewish guys, by the way. The Sherman Brothers. People always ask me, was Walt Disney anti-Semitic? And I go, I can tell you this. He hired Jews and he loved the Sherman Brothers. Right. So there's your answer. So the Sherman Brothers, 40 years ago, these guys wrote a musical that they never did anything with about a dinosaur.
Wow.
And the second of the two Sherman Brothers just died. So they both have now passed a couple years back. And their son reached out to my manager looking for the right producer to create this story. And he had many meetings, and I met him at the Beverly Hilton Hotel, and we just hit it off. And he saw there was a real sincerity and love that I had for his father and uncle. And because I also directed 2 Winnie the Pooh movies, which they wrote a lot of the music for Winnie the Pooh back in the day, and he knew that I really understand the depth of the brilliance of these guys. And he gave me the reins to hit this project. And so we've spent the last year developing this project. Wow. And we just started pitching it. Just pitched it to Apple and DreamWorks. And Disney's coming up in the next couple weeks. So please, God, 5 years from now, it's on lunchboxes, it's on T-shirts. So that's a really exciting project. I also have another project. I'm developing a South Beach, Miami musical with one of my dear friends. He's one of the most successful songwriters that ever lived. His name is Desmond Child. You may not know his name.
I do know the name.
He wrote Livin' La Vida Loca, Ricky Martin.
Right.
He wrote Bon Jovi. Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa,
Living on a Prayer. Yeah.
He wrote "Living on a Prayer."
I know the name.
Aerosmith. He wrote Aerosmith. Dude, look like a lady.
Wow. That's how
he's
I know
like
him. Yeah.
He's one of the biggest songwriters in history, and he and I are writing a musical, a Latin musical about a dreamer flamingo that comes from a Cuban island to make his dream as a singer in South Beach, Miami. It's a real, and I'm taking everything that I've lived.
Animated?
Animated. Oh yeah, big animated film. It's going really well. And
I love it.
So hopefully in 5 years. But then in addition to that, please God, put the movies aside, put the books aside. Here's what I really want in 5 years. I want that my relationship with my wife is even closer. I married my best friend, and I want it to be even better. I want my relationship with my kids to be even closer. I want to be a better husband and father. And I want to be just a more humble and just a better human being. I want to be a more attentive son to my parents, a better sibling to my brother and sister, and that's the goal, man.
I love it. And one thing I would throw in there is that you want to make sure that you maintain a relationship with Ross Mandel, and you have him to the premiere of that dinosaur movie. And the singing Latino flamingo.
That's right. So we can get a hug in person.
I want that hug, and I want to be on your podcast. I want to thank you so much for your time today, Saul. I mean
Thank you, brother.
Brother from another mother. Meant a lot today.
So happy we connected.
You inspired
so happy
me.
we connected. Thank you. You inspired me as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. We'll
and
speak soon.
Can I also just compliment your audience for a moment? To each one of you listening, the fact that you even show up to a podcast like this, when you could be binge watching Suits or some other show that you like, the fact that you show up to this means you've already proven to yourself that you want more, that you want a life that's not good, not great, that you want a life of awesome. And you should take pleasure in showing up at this, and that should motivate you, each of you, to continue not just be human beings, but human becomings.
Love you, Saul. Thank you.
Thank you.